Let's just start.
So the DL Whisper said the men that they call simps are usually the straight men. And that is so true. See, straight men that truly love women, they're the ones showing up, being present, not afraid to say, I cherish her, I want to be with her, I want to see her win, I want to spoil her, I want to protect her, and love her loud. That's not weak, that's strength. And you have some men, especially the ones on the down low. I'm not doing for a bitch. I'm not doing all of that. That's simping. That's y'all doing too much for women. If you're not doing it for women, son, who are you doing it for? Another man? Because it doesn't make sense. Why are y'all so bothered by actually doing the role of a man for a woman?
There she goes with that girl tripping. You know, some women are not worth it to do anything for, because, I mean, she doesn't bring you any value, right? And if a woman doesn't bring you any value, why should you do things for them? And it's like 98% of women don't bring any value. So if a man finds that 2% that brings value, peace, and stability into his life, I think he's going to do everything for that woman. Yeah.
These men will listen to you talk, notice when your energy is off, rub your back, send you flowers, cook for you. Don't need to be begged to act right. And most importantly, they genuinely like women. They're not simps. They're just emotionally secure, straight men. The men that brag about not doing nothing for a woman either hate women or don't like women at all. Talking about I ain't buying her shit. You can't get $1 out of me. Y'all doing all that for pussy? Let's be honest, some of them don't even like women like that. Are deeply insecure and hide it behind that super masculine nonsense. Are low-key gay and resent women for the fact they can't be true about their own desires. Like, that's not our problem, baby, that's yours. It's giving repressed, angry, and scared of intimacy. Like, if the idea of loving a woman out loud disgusts you, then sweetie, you are not a straight man. You're struggling with your own identity or projecting hate from a wound you won't face. Anti-simp men be obsessing over other men, not women. Have you ever heard about these type of men talk about other men? It sounds like they be in love.
She sounds very toxic, I must say. Crazy.
They dress for male validation, quote alpha male podcasts all day, try to be hard 24/7, want to impress their homeboys rather than impress the woman that they are sleeping with. Because the truth is, real straight men, they don't mind nurturing a woman. They don't need to flex by denying love. They're not moved by fragile egos. And let them keep using simp like it's an insult. Because it really just means he's emotionally available. He knows how to love with effort. He values a woman's softness, not just her sex. He will be the one her kids call dad one day. He's not afraid to be a protector and a provider. So yeah, call the real straight men simps. And we love them for it. The ones that's yelling, I ain't doing nothing for no bitch. Be the ones that secretly watching other men glow up while they stuck in fucking poverty. That'd be the funny part.
You know, I have to say something again. You know, it's these same women who constantly try to downplay and constantly try to make men feel insecure about themselves. That's the reason why a lot of men are not doing anything for ladies no more. Better still, I can do a whole lot of things for my own self, like take good care of myself and wait for the right person. Right, I think that's the most, you know, how do you call it, the wisest way to go about things right now. Because I mean, see, moving around with all these ladies, bro, there's a whole lot of disadvantages, like a whole lot of disadvantages. Is crazy. STDs, STIs, you know, entanglement with some crazy dudes that they are with, because most women even don't like responsible men, right? When they get a responsible man, it's just for stability and security, but then they'll be going around sleeping with other men, like dirty men, right? And some of these girls are also dirty girls. So I mean, it's crazy. Let's get back to the video.
Or call him a simp. I'll call him mine. Because the same men that y'all mock are the same men that women pray for.
Your beliefs collapse potential into reality. Believe money is hard? Boom, you get that version. Believe money flows easily to you? Now you've collapsed that timeline. The field listens to frequency. Your subconscious sets the frequency, and 90% of it was programmed before you could even speak. Read that again. This is why hard work alone never cuts it. It's why people grind 12-hour days and still feel broke. It's why someone with less hustle but cleaner energy pulls in wealth without breaking a sweat. Because it's not about doing more, it's about being aligned. No alignment, no flow, it's that simple, and that dangerous if you ignore it. See, money isn't real. It's not rooted in nature. It's not divine law. It's paper, just digits. A belief system with excellent branding. And yet, this illusion runs your life. It controls how you feel when you wake up, how safe you feel in your own skin, how worthy you think you are as a man. Why? Because from the time you were a child, you were hypnotized into believing that money equals survival, success, and value. And now, without realizing it, you live in service to something that only exists if you believe in it. That's not a conspiracy. That's basic spiritual law. Money is belief made physical. Let me show you how deep the spell really goes. If every person on earth woke up tomorrow and said, money has no value, the system would collapse instantly. No banks, no credit. This has already happened. Repeatedly. Germany, 1920s. Zimbabwe, 2000s. People were burning stacks of cash just to stay warm. Not because they lost money, because the belief collapsed. And here's the part you were never told. This belief system isn't neutral. It's rigged. You were programmed to view money as hard to get, easy to lose, only for the lucky or ruthless. Why? Because if they can keep you in scarcity, they can keep you obedient.
Get coin!
If the sun is in outer space, why is there light on Earth but not in space? Why do we say Christopher Columbus discovered America when there were already people in America when he got here? When the wind isn't blowing, where does it go? Why do we call apartments apartments when they're clearly not apart? Why do we say the fire alarm is going off when it's actually going on? Why is pizza round, cut into triangles, and placed in a square box? Why is there a D in fridge but not in refrigerator? If tomatoes are fruits, why don't we call ketchup smoothies? Why do we say taking a dump when you're actually giving a dump? Why are there always 8 hot dog buns and 10 hot dogs? If there's no oxygen in space, how is the moon landing flag moving? Why do we call driveways driveways when we're not driving on them, we're parked on them? And why do we call parkways parkways when we're not parking on them, we're driving on them? Why do we call car delivered shipments shipments when they're not on ships? And we call shipments on ships cargo ships when they're not on cars, they're in ships. Why do we call waiters waiters when we're the ones waiting on them? Who came first, the chicken or the egg? If the egg came first, who laid the egg? If olive oil is made out of olives, then what is baby oil made out of? Why don't they make bacon packaging resealable?
Every time a man watches porn, he is surrendering his true masculine energy. And the reason why society has become the way it is today is because man has been dismantled. The concept of man has been dismantled. And the reason why the concept of man has been dismantled is because when men are in their true masculine energy, they are leaders, they are protectors, they are basically structure to society. And when there's structure in society, human beings can't be controlled, okay? Women have been taught that their femininity is considered weakness, which is why a lot of women have jumped more into their masculine energy. And I'm not here to blame women. There's a reason why they jumped into their masculine, because society has done, basically, they have put men into a spiritual war. Think about what society has done today. Men have access to porn. How is porn free? I want you guys to think about what's free in society today. Nothing is free. But the fact that porn is so accessible is why I know for a fact that men are they're in a spiritual war. And women have been basically convinced that being free means being naked, being very, very exposed. Did you guys know that 1.4 million women in the United States are doing OnlyFans? Okay, we have done this thing where we think that society is the way it is just because it's called evolution. I don't consider it evolution, okay? Everything has an agenda, okay? Everything has an agenda. I want you to think about being an American, living in America. Everything is so expensive. Everything is so difficult to get access to. Healthcare, education, but we have porn. Porn is so free. Why is porn so free? Because the more men use porn, the more men use the concept, like watching porn, what does it do? It creates a dopamine release for men. So basically men are getting the reward without working for it. Okay. And who is in these porn videos? Women, because women have been taught that, showing your body off means you're free, and it means that, you are in control. And this is why society is so imbalanced today, because the concept of polarities are so fucked up, okay? Women are forced into their masculine because men are at a spiritual war right now. And, suicide has never been higher when it comes to men. And this isn't a blame game. I'm not blaming men or women. We are victims, actually. We are victims of a bigger game that's being played. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I want to bring awareness to this, okay? Every time a man jumps onto a porn website, know that you're basically depleting and you're destroying the concept of what intimacy means. That's why intimacy between man and woman has become almost obsolete today. That's why so many women don't want to even get in relationships, and that's why so many men don't even bother getting into relationships, because men have been given free dopamine releases that are actually fucking up their brain, fucking up their intimacy, dismantling the concept of what intimacy means between man and woman. And that's why a lot of times you hear a lot of women say things like, I'm just going to be the man in the relationship. And this is not a blame game, okay? This is not a blame game. There's always an agenda, okay? This is why I urge men to really, really think about where you're getting your dopamine releases. Is it fake dopamine releases? Is it artificial? Because nowadays, people are not working anymore for their rewards, okay? Especially when it comes to sexual intimacy. There's open relationships. There are dating apps. There are hookup culture. And we wonder why the concept of the family unit no longer exists. Because when there's a family, it's harder to dismantle that family unit when there's a masculine energy and there's a feminine energy, okay? I want you guys to really think about that, because as a woman in society today, I tell my mom this all the time, it's not the way it used to be. Men are more lonelier than ever. Women are more burnt out than ever. And the reason why is because the polarities have been so confused and so jacked up. And by doing that, it creates control on society. So every time, as a man, you want to have some type of dopamine release, I urge you to think about where you're getting it from and what it's doing to your brain, because the fact that porn is so accessible today and OnlyFans has become such a normal thing is why society is so backwards.
A trick of the enemy is to get you so focused on money that you never find out what it is that you should actually be doing. So when we think about seek first the kingdom of God, the enemy will have it so that you find this job or this job finds you, and it's going to pay you for your time. It's going to give you an hourly rate for your time. Nothing wrong with that, except most of us get drained by those jobs. So you go and you work your job, you get the money that you need to survive, and then you're too tired because of the commute, because of the actual time spent on the job, that when you get home, you're not seeking God on what it is that you should be doing outside of that job, because now you're exhausted. And then to make matters worse, you're inundated with things online, offline. Like if you're scrolling on this app, 30 minutes turns into 3 hours real quick. The next thing you know, it's time for you to go up, eat something, take your shower, lay down and do it all again. And so then you get into this cycle. Sometimes you want to go out with your friends. Sometimes you just want to go and do nothing. So where's the space for you to actually sit and think about, what is this gift that God has given me and how can I use it to service other people? And then that's the other thing. We don't service other people because we feel like, well, I don't have time for myself, so I don't have anything to give to other people. And then you can't service other people because you don't have enough money to have leisure time to think about how you can use your craft to service other people. And then when you do have extra money, you feel compelled to spend it to make yourself feel better because of the decisions that you're making that are keeping you in this cycle, keeping you in this trap. And no, I'm not saying you need to leave your job. No, I'm not saying all jobs are evil, but I'm saying that even if you have a full-time job, if your job is not linked with the thing that God has given you to service other people, you have to reserve some time and energy to figure out what it is that you should be doing. And your thing can be something as simple, not small, simple as being a great grandmother who leads your children up in the way. It can be as simple as that, or it can be as large. Again, not trying to say that one is more important than the other. It can be as large as speaking on stages to people. But the thing is, most of us never figure out what it is because, like I said, the enemy is crafty and we're so busy chasing after money and a good time and all of the distractions that there's nothing left. There's nothing left. We don't have time to seek the kingdom. We don't have time to ask God, like, what is it that you want me to do with this gift that I have? What is the gift that I have that you want me to use? And it just ends up being this cycle. And the next thing you know, 5, 10, 15 years passes by and you're still doing the same thing. You're probably not in the same job. Maybe you're in another job. Maybe you're in a different space. But my point is, you're still in the same cycle of habits where you haven't figured out the thing that you should be doing that is actually a gift that was given to you to service others, because you're so wrapped up in the trap. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.